Made at the Centinela State Prison, Centinela, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now. Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Hello.
Hey, hey, what's up,
Hey, Javier. How's it going tonight? I want to go ahead and thank you, for calling in, and I want to go ahead and welcome you to. You have a collect call from.
okay, yeah. Hey, likewise, huh, bud?
I appreciate it.
How about
So
yourself? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I got no complaints. So far so good. And
That's
and,
right.
and would you mind, sharing a quick introduction of who you are and where you're currently at, and anything else you think that the audience should know about you?
Okay, yeah. So my full name is Francisco Javier Yanez, and Munoz is my mom's maiden name. I was born in Guadalajara, Jalisco. I came to California at the age of 7 or 8. Um, uh, man. Well, after I got here, not long after that, maybe like by the time I was 11 years old, I was already in 2.5. But yeah, that pretty much. I come from a family of 12. My mom actually had more kids, but I don't want to throw out there like that. Well, she had like more than 12 kids. I could just tell you that much. Um, yeah, I just go by Javi. Most people know me by Javi. I'm from Sherman, right there in San Diego, and I've been busted since 1993, June 13th of 1993, and I'm still here though.
Hey, man, that's a long time. I really appreciate you sharing that with us. And let me ask you something. As a kid growing up, what's your earliest memory as a kid? What do you remember?
You know what? I think I was maybe 6 years old. I want to say 6 years old, and my dad brought everybody toys. It wasn't even Christmas yet. He kind of gave us our toys early, and I remember he gave me like a little toy tank, like a little tank that he could actually ride, and he used to shoot out these little yellow rubber, like little balls out of the front, and you know what? That's pretty much like as far as my memory goes. I believe that's my first memory like that. But yeah, that's it right there.
Man, definitely. I'm pretty sure that was an exciting time, getting toys. I mean, as a kid, I know I used to love, especially Christmas coming around. My tío used to give me $20 every Christmas or toys. So yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
could imagine, one of those memories that you remember. And you mentioned something right now when you were giving your introduction. You said that you came to the U.S. when you were 18 or you were 8 years
7 years
old.
old,
8 years old. Let
seven
me
or eight, yeah, somewhere. Yeah.
how did you do?
Uh
You
huh.
you came here. You're in a new country, new place, and everything is pretty new to you. How did you do with the language? How long did it take you to pick up speaking English, and within 3 years or 3 or 4 years, you ended up going to juvenile hall. Uh, 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 you know.
Yeah, it was ugly. Ugly. Well, yeah, you know, you get here and you know, the ones that are born over here, they're already looking at you because you're wearing, like, say, cowboy boots. My wife would put these little cowboy boots on us, shaped like Cheetos, the little tight little Levi's or whatever. And the language barrier was the main thing because they used to clown us, they used to laugh at us. And I'm over here trying to learn English, and they used to all clown us. We used to get bullied, we used to get jumped. But I believe that was the hardest part, going to school. Going to school, I used to have to like either be the very first one inside the school grounds, or the very last one. And the same thing, I'm after school the same way. Like the teacher would either let me go 5 minutes early or hold me back until everybody leaves because I used to get jumped because they wanted me to get into the hood, and I didn't want to be from the hood. But yeah, the language barrier, the way I dressed, it was just that was maybe probably the hardest. I didn't start speaking English until I mean, like, well, I could say that I actually knew English maybe until I was like maybe like 16.
Wow, that took it took it
16.
took you some time to grasp the language. So that definitely I could see,
Yeah.
people picking on you because you didn't you didn't speak like everybody else, or your little boots and all that stuff. Growing up as a kid, kids could be mean. Hey, kids
Yeah.
could be mean and bullies. When you're different,
Yeah.
makes you a target. But obviously,
Yeah.
that ended up at some point that ended up changing, and you weren't the target anymore, where you ended up becoming
Yeah.
I guess
I started dressing like that.
yeah.
I started wearing what we used to wear, Dickies, and if you didn't have money, you wear the Pele shoes,
The Pro
the
Wings.
throwback, yeah, the Pro Wings, like the tough as the Pro Wings or the coasters. Remember the coasters from
I
Payless?
no I
Yeah. So if you didn't have money if you didn't have money for the Converse, you would get the Pro Wings. And I used to kill the Pro Wings. I used to take out that little Pro Wing sign and I used to stitch the Converse on it, dude. I used to be embarrassed, like, man, pobre jefita, she can't afford it, my dad can afford it. They got, we got 12 of us living in a one-bedroom house. And, like, it was hard, bro. Like, my mom couldn't afford it, my dad couldn't afford it. And I understood that, but, yeah, that was, I think that pretty much is what led into me getting into a lot of trouble. I was trying to fit in. I
and
was
and
trying to be. I was trying to be in the in crowd.
and with all that was happening to you while you're growing up, um how did you do in school? Like, how were you doing in school? What was, not knowing the language, was that a deterrent? uh uh
Yeah, it was. I used to ditch. Like I would go maybe like when I was in elementary, I would go to like maybe the first hour, and then they would do the recess. They used to call it recess. I guess we get like 2 breaks. I was gone. I would jump the fence. I'll go to the zoo because the zoo was real close to the house, or we used to go to SeaWorld. And then
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
before school was over, I would come back and I'll beg my teacher to not call my mom because my dad was gonna whoop me. And man, I thank God I had such a cool teacher, man, that my mom and dad, they didn't find out I was ditching until I started going to junior high. So yeah, I had a cool teacher, man. He was trying to he knew what I was going through. Mr. Rossi, he was cool.
and you mentioned that
Yeah.
you came you came from Mexico at the age of 7 or 8. What was the
Yeah,
differences?
I was about to turn 8.
What was the
What
differences that you
happened?
noticed as soon as the difference between here and Mexico? Um,
The very first thing I noticed, the
yeah.
difference, I'm going to tell you, and it's going to be funny, the milk. The milk to me tasted like water. Straight water, man, like straight water down. And I remember my mom went and bought milk, and I was laughing at her, like, this ain't milk. Because, we grew up, my dad, we had our own cows. My dad had like a little ranch over there in Guadalajara. No, actually in Zacatecas. And we had our own cows, our horses. My abuelito had a bunch of cows. So we used to go get the milk straight from the cows, and we used to boil it. And so the milk was straight, like super thick, like righteous milk, straight from the cow. And the first thing I noticed over here was the milk, the watered down milk. I was like, what the hell is this? And I was, this is what I'm going to be drinking over here? And I remember I used to always complain and tell my mom. My mom was like, man, get over it. We don't got a cow here. This is what you're going to drink. This is the milk we got. But yeah, that's the first thing I noticed as far as like the first experience of the difference.
And you
Crazy, huh?
yeah,
The
yeah, no,
milk.
yeah, you know what, I can't say that I've ever tasted like milk straight from like either a cow or a goat or anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm just used to this
I don't
straight
think a
water
lot of
down.
people did. Yeah.
I don't think
It's
I could
it's
do it.
horrible. The milk was like took me a while, but yeah, like we were drinking milk straight from the cow. I mean, like, you know how it got that little thick film on top, what they call it nata. Do
Yeah,
you know what nata is on the
yeah,
milk? I
yeah.
guess when you like boil milk and it makes like a little cheese thing on top. Yeah, we used to drink it like fresh milk. So coming over here and then tasting that was, to me, it was crazy. I was like, this cannot be real. But yeah, that was my first experience as far as like noticing the difference of Mexico and over here.
All right. and then
You
earlier
know.
on,
Oh, and the wooden houses. I was like, what the hell? All the houses are made of wood and drywall. What the hell? You know, over there was all brick and blockade. So yeah, that's those two things.
yeah, and then and the dirt roads. I'm pretty sure too. You know, because when you're
Yeah,
walking around
yeah, and
out
the dirt
there,
roads. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
yeah.
all the lights, the signals, the stop signs. Like, what the hell? It's cool. I like that part. All
And
the cars.
how long would you say that it took you for you to get acclimated to your new surroundings and fit in?
Well, man, I went to juvenile hall maybe like 8 times. I went to camp 3 times. So I think most of my acclimation was in controlled settings, like
Okay.
juvenile hall, camp. As far as the act like righteously living like free out there, I don't think I had much of a life as a young person that I could say that
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
I at least lived a good 2 or 3 years out of like straight. Never. It was maybe like maybe 8 months at a time or a year at a time, and back to juvenile hall. 3 months and then back to juvenile hall, and then 8 months and then back to camp, and then a year and back to camp. So yeah, it took me a while. I think I got acclimated when I ended up getting busted. I was like, oh shit, I guess this is gonna be my life now. But it's hard. It's sad to say, but yeah, it's got to be once I got busted. It's like I thought I was never gonna get out, so I just put it in my mind. I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna be all miserable and shit. I'm not gonna be all mad at nobody or nothing. I put myself here, and this is my life, and this is where I'm gonna die. So I'm just gonna push forward, and I'm not gonna be mean. I'm not gonna be mad at myself. I'm gonna be happy. I'm gonna push for joy. But yeah, like it took me a while. It took me a while, but I think I got acclimated once I got busted.
Do you remember
Crazy to
what?
say that.
Do you remember what was the first case you caught as a juvenile?
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy. My teacher called me a wetback. The same teacher that used to help me. He used to let me. He knew I was getting beat up from the little neighborhood gang. I used to get jumped on. So he called me a wetbag, and I stabbed him with a pencil in the knee. And I kind of broke the lip in his kneecap because he was wearing these little gym shorts. Mr. Rossi, he's a light-skinned, straight white dude, like super light skin. And you could see the pencil is stuck all in his skin and shit. And he called the principal and they took me to juvenile hall. My mom didn't even know. My mom didn't know until she went and picked me up that it was the teacher that I had. But I didn't even stab him. I just tried to like push him away with the pencil, but I stabbed him in the knee. So they kind of hit that from my mom because they know the teacher was cool with me and I was cool with the teacher. I just snapped because he called me a wetback. But yeah, that was the first time. I was
And
like 11 or 12.
and do you remember what that experience was? You obviously you get arrested, you get handcuffed, they throw you in a cop car, and they drive you down to the local juvenile hall, and they process you. Do you remember what your minds? Do you remember
Hmm.
what you were thinking? Were you scared? Were you terrified? Were you like, or you weren't concerned at all? Do you remember what that experience was like going to juvenile hall, getting processed, and being in a new setting?
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't even tripping on like the 2.5 thing or being in there. I kind of low key wanted to be in there because I knew what I was. I know what was waiting for me. I know my dad was gonna I know he was gonna put it to me. I know that fool was gonna beat my ass. I was like, man. And sure enough, he's the one that came to pick me up. I seen that red station wagon pull up and pick me up. I was like, oh man, because I wasn't even there a day. Like the first time you get busted at juvenile hall, they let you go the same day, but they call your parents pick you up. I'm like, fuck, man. Yeah, when I got home, and sure enough, I got a whooping. That fool put it, man. That fool he whooped my ass. Yeah, that was my first time.
All right, and then
Crazy.
we got a question right here from one of our viewers here, and I'm gonna go ahead and read it off to you. First question is gonna be from Leticia, and Leticia is asking.
Uh-huh.
Let me see. Let me get a little bit closer because I can't see that good. And
You
and
have 60 seconds remaining.
and Leticia is asking, what are you gonna do to change your life after all these years?
Man, I'm a control. I'm a control my thinking. I'm gonna control my thinking because what you think, that's what actually gets a lot of people in trouble is your thinking. Because whatever you think, you could actually materialize. You could turn it into action. So if you can control your thinking, or you could be a little more patient, you know. And I've already put that to the test 3 times since I've been on this prison. I mean, I almost got in a fight like 3 different times, and that's what I did. I sat down and I thought about my consequences, what's going to happen, what am I going to lose, who's going to be mad, who's going to be disappointed. Because me, like, I'm being selfish if I just act. Like, it's easy to go to violence right away and just snap whatever if you don't have, like, to worry about anybody's, you know, way of thinking.
All right, so the call was cut off. You should be calling us back in the next few moments. So as soon as he does call back, we'll go ahead and continue. And Javier is going to be our newest uh, gentleman, you know, to come onto the podcast, and definitely, you know, exciting, um, to hear his story and his journey. And he's been down for quite some time. You know, I just spoke to him. I started speaking to him about 30 minutes ago, prior to going on the live, and you know, from what the bit of information that he provided to me. You know, he's been down since 1993. He's been down for a long time. You know, I was telling him that he's been down since I was 12. So there he is.
This call is now being recorded.
This is Global Tel Link. You have a prepaid call from
Javier Yanez.
an inmate at the Centinela State Prison, Centinela, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now. Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
All right, Javier,
Yeah.
thank you for calling back, and you want to go ahead and continue with your answer for that question right
Hey,
there.
so what was the question again? She said what was
So the
what was I
question,
gonna do to
So-
change my what was it?
so it was what are you gonna do to change your life after all these years?
Ah, man. Obviously, I now think as a mature adult, and maybe as long as I have like I think the most important thing is having like someone that you love, or someone to care about, someone that cares about you, someone that you could actually be embarrassed of. Like, say, for instance, if I did something, like if I messed up against, I knew I was gonna be ashamed of either my mom, my dad, or say I had a girlfriend. So I would stay focused and have a job, and maybe have some kind of like a hobby, and oh man, I don't know, it's different. I haven't been out there for so long, and then I'm older. But it might sound a little corny, but yeah, maybe have some kind of hobby. I like drawing. I mean, that's my passion, like drawing and fixing things. I do electronics in here, and I fix all kinds of radios and TVs and tablets, whatnot. But yeah, I hope that would be. I don't know. Does that sound right for an answer?
I mean, I think in
What
this,
do you think?
I think in this type of situation, I don't think there's any right or wrong answer. You know what I mean? I mean, as long as you have, you're putting your foot forward, and you're thinking positive, you can't go wrong. But I mean, I definitely like your answer. I mean, as long as you're not telling me, hey, I'm gonna pick up a banger, and hit somebody, then
That's the old me.
yeah, so you see, so yeah,
Yeah, that's the
you're
old me.
definitely on the right path. And earlier on, you mentioned
Yeah.
that you've held back from physical contact with
Yes,
individuals when
3 times already.
so
Yeah, three
that's
times already, and like the old me would have took it to him right away. Like I wouldn't even think about it, because it just, the more you think about it, the more it just messes you up. It's so heavy. It's hard to explain that people don't actually experience this kind of violence, because out there you could go places. Right here you can't go nowhere. You got to see the dude. The dude's gonna be in the yard. He's gonna be in the day room. So you don't want to be watching your back. So you just nick it in the butt and you go take care of this shit. but I haven't done that no more. Like I've actually, you know, I bit my tongue. You know, I put my pride. It hurts. It really does, and it's hard. But you know, so that's how I know I've actually have a lot of maturing. A lot. I changed a lot. You know, and I'm proud of that. I really am. It's a little embarrassing because I care and I see how people. You know, I worry about how people view me, and I don't want nobody to say, "Oh, that fool got called this, and he didn't even do shit about it," or whatever. You know. But I'm learning not to care. You know, like I don't want to care what they think or what they say. But yeah, that's what prison does to you. Like you don't want to be that guy that got called a bitch and didn't do shit about it.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
that makes
especially
any
in that
sense.
place. Yeah, so I want to go ahead and thank
Yeah.
you, for answering that question. So I'm gonna go ahead and take you back
Mhm.
to juvenile hall when you're 11 years old, so we could go ahead and get through that stage in your life, and then we'll go ahead and progress, up to where
Yeah.
you're at now. So
Mhm.
so you went to juvenile hall. Your dad went to pick you up, and obviously you had something coming your way that you didn't want.
Damn, that fool. Actual, homie, that fool. Hey, my dad used to whoop on you like if you was his enemy. Like that fool, he'll punch you with the closed fist, homie. Like he'll really trying to knock you out. Like he felt like you, like if you like man, like if you done mess with his wife or something. That fool was trying to kill me. I was like man, fool, like if he's dad, you can't punch back. You know, like yeah, and you're thinking that's how life is. You don't know. You know, I didn't know. I grew up getting my ass whooped. Like I'm thinking that's just what everybody does, you know. That's what they did to him. A mi jefito lo agarraban a chingazos with the fucking cord from the iron, the cord, the yellow extension cords, the orange ones, whatever, a fucking belt with the buckle. He would fucking dip the leather belt in water and hey, that fool used to torture me. That fool used to really make sure he want to make sure I don't fuck up again. But obviously that shit didn't work. But that's the shit I actually had to endure, homie, as a kid. Like I got fucking I got
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
yeah, I got fucking whooped with gotcha, homie.
So
All of us, not just me.
so when you were going through things like that, I mean, because obviously, I mean, looking at it back at now, that's child abuse. Like that. You do
Yeah,
it. You
yeah,
do it
but we're not knowing that.
exactly.
Yeah, we're not knowing that, you know. We're like thinking that everybody gets whooped like that. We're like, all
Yeah.
right, and we used to talk amongst our homies. They're like, hey, fool, your dad be whooping? Yeah, my dad be whooping me too, but it's like a little secret thing inside the family. I mean, you hear the neighbors screaming and shit, and you know you're getting whooped, but ain't nobody calling the cops because we're all thinking that's the normal shit. That's what happens. You fuck up, you get beat the fuck up. But yeah, so we all used to talk like all my homies are like there was a couple of homies that weren't getting whooped and they were like, yeah, fool, your dad fucking did that? Like I'll go to school and I have lashes all over my fucking back. Like you could see the marks from the fucking cords. Even the school teachers would tell me, what the hell is that? And I used to cover. I used to cover for my dad. That was my little brother that he hit me with the cord. So yeah, it's those are things that a household kind of keeps secret, like they don't want, it's embarrassing, but it was going on. It was
But
going on.
and then sometimes too, the alternative would probably end up being worse, just because you get placed into they take you out of your home, and then they put you into
Yes.
these other
Yeah.
places, and some horrific things are going on to in these places that are supposed to be uh, uh, um, keeping you secure or safe, and then some of these people are even worse
Yeah.
than what you're dealing with. So you go from one a horrific situation to a even worse situation. So I mean,
Yes.
uh, uh, um,
You end up in foster care and all
yeah,
kinds of shit, and us, like most Rafa don't do that. Like we don't believe in that. Like no matter how much you're fucking up and how much your dad is whooping on you, like you don't even think about running away. I mean, it crosses your mind, and you're like, man, fuck this dude. Like I used to wish my dad, when I was a kid, I used to wish he would. Me and my little brothers would talk amongst each other. Like, man, I wish Rafa was dead. We used to wish. That's how much we used to hate him, because that's what we used to like. Man, that's what we used to. He had this little fucking thing where he used to torture me. He used to put rice on the floor, and he used to have his big old oak chair that he brought from a bowling alley. He used to work at a bowling alley. So you could imagine, you ever seen the big old chairs they have in the bowling alley? They're made out of like heavy oak.
yeah,
And that's what used to make me hold that shit over my head. And I used to be on my knees on rice. And anytime that fucking chair touched the top of my head, that fool would whoop me. So I would have to hold that chair above my head. You know how heavy that shit was, so hard. But yeah, that fool used to like torture us, homie. Like he didn't know no better. I love my dad, man. Like he cries now. He's an old man. He's 91 years old almost. And I'm pretty sure he's a 90 or 91, and he always brings that up. And I tell him, Dad, I'm not even mad at you. I mean, like, you got whooped like that. You did that to us because you were thinking that's, you know, because they did it to you. You were thinking that's just how it goes, you know. And I was thinking the same thing, like, all right, I guess I'm gonna end up whooping my kids like this when I have kids, you know. But that was my thinking when I was a kid. Now that I'm older, of course not. I wouldn't do that, you know. But yeah, that's the way my dad was raised, man. Like he was real violent. I wouldn't play.
So pretty much, was it a constant thing where every time you went to juvenile hall or you went to camp, were you always going through things like this, or after a certain point, you know, they kind of figured, you know, he's gonna continue doing what he's doing, and we're just gonna let it be.
Yeah, well, man, he used to do it all the time. No, I didn't have to go to juvenile hall. I didn't have to go to camp. You know, I could come home and the dishes wouldn't be done because my holiday was to do the dishes, and I hated doing the dishes, but that was my holiday. We all had a little chores in the house, and whoever didn't do their shit, they would get a whooping. And there'll be times when I would do the dishes, and then my little brothers, I done kicked it in the couch. I'd go watch a movie or something. And I don't know that there's trays in the kitchen dirty again because my little brothers went and made cereal or whatever. And I don't know. And I'm being legit. Like I'm being honest. Like I tell my dad, hey, I did the dishes, and then he would whoop me harder for lying because he thought I was lying. But he don't know that my little brother done went and ate cereal getting this dirty dishes in the thing, you know. And so I mean I don't blame him. Like he really thought I was lying, but I wasn't, you know. So I would get blamed for all kinds of shit. So
this call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
So
it was just a very violent household, you know.
So it seems like juvenile hall and going to camp was kind of an escape, you know, to give yourself a break, you know, from going through these type of abuses.
Yeah.
Is that's
it really was,
that's a safe assumption there, right?
Yeah, it really was. Because all my brothers went to juvenile hall. My whole entire all my brothers, every single one of them. So that tells you, like, man, Dad was everybody would rather go to camp or juvenile hall than be in the house. Because that fool, especially when he used to get drunk, that fool used to beat my mom. And man, my dad was, man, we used to jump on him, not to fight him, but to hold him when he was punching on my mom. And then the next day, he wouldn't even remember. You know, the crazy thing is that once I got older and I got busted, he became like the coolest dad. And I'm like, damn, Dad, I wish you were cool like that when I was young, because you're cool now. And like, yeah, that fool's funny. He's hella peaceful. He's just a different dad that I didn't get to know until I got busted, till now. Like my younger brother didn't get hit. I got two younger brothers, Joel and Nadia. Then my dad didn't lay a hand on them, and they turned out good. They're out there. They didn't get busted. They didn't go through what I went through.
And Javier, Leticia just asked a question right now. She's asking, do you think the violence that you experienced with your dad made you a violent person? She didn't ask it like that, but I'm kind of like switching it up.
I think I grew up thinking that I'm not supposed to punch back because I never lay hands on my dad. Never. You know, I never lay hands on my mom. So I grew up like a timid kid. Like I didn't want to fight. I didn't want to hurt nobody. I didn't want to be violent. I just thought that I was just, you know, that was the way of life. Like you're a kid, you're growing up, you don't get to hit back until you're like 20 or 30. You know, that was my way of thinking. But yeah, I think that played into my adult life, like my violence in prison, all that rage and anger that I was holding, all that all that anger I had towards my dad for fucking whooping on us like that and hitting my mom and all that. I think it all came out when I got busted. Seeing fools fucking like look down on me or you know, like threatening me or telling me like you're trying to put me down, you know, like man, this shit ain't gonna happen no more. Like I got hands. I'm fighting, you know. So I became like one little squabby little dude, man. I wasn't taking no shit, you know. I think yeah, a little bit played into like my adult life, my violence, my dad's violence, probably yeah.
And so you joined the gang right at an early age.
Yeah, I was I said maybe like 12 or 13. Finally, I had to, dog. Like I didn't want to, but like these dudes were like they would wait for me after school. They would wait for me before school. I lived in the hood. I had to be from the hood, or else, you know, I was gonna get jumped, and I get jumped and get jumped. So yeah, I finally did. I like around that age.
And that kind of progressed kind of quick, right? You've only been here, or you were only here for like about 4 years, from Mexico.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
when I just thought about something, was your dad also violent like this when you were living in Mexico? Do you remember that, or was your earliest first memory that you remember is when once you got here to the U.S.?
No, I don't even remember my dad in Mexico.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
I don't even think I recall seeing my dad ever once in Mexico. I think he came over here and he started working, and then he started sending money over there to get us over here. But yeah, I couldn't even answer that because I don't remember him over there. I know my dad from over here.
Oh, okay.
He was over when we got here. He was already here.
Okay.
It's about to hang up. You want me to dial back before it just
Yeah.
cuts us off?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, call back.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we're about to hit the 15-minute mark, and he was being proactive. So he should call us back shortly, and we'll go ahead and continue with this interview and him sharing his life journey, to where he currently is at right now, and who he is now, opposed to when he entered the system. And he has a J number, so he's been down numerous years, or 2-3 decades now. And I'm sure he's seen the prison population change, through over those years.
This call is now
This
being
is Global
recorded.
Tel Link. You have a prepaid call from
Javier Yanez.
an inmate at the Centinela State Prison, Centinela, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now. Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
So during this time, you're hanging out with your friends. What kind of activities are you guys doing? Whether good or bad, or not necessarily. Um,
A little bit of both. A little bit of both. Like our thing was like, I started working like in a neighborhood little liquor store and supermarket with the Arabs, and they had an arcade next door, so we used to go play arcades and shit. Or we used to go to little golf carts at fun centers and shit. We used to go to the mall. We used to go fucking on our bikes off-roading, and we used to go to the park and shit. But we had maybe like a group of maybe I had I could say maybe a good 10 friends that I grew up, and we're pretty much all straight bikes off from going through the same shit. So we used to all stay together, and we used to, the good parts were going to the park, playing baseball, playing soccer, playing video games. We used to go hustle. We used to, we used to go, we used to try to make a buck, regardless of what kind of job it was. Like sometimes the neighborhood store would pay us like $2 to go get, how people get the shopping carts and they take them into maybe 4 or 5 blocks and they push the cars far away from the store. So we used to bring all the carts back, and they used to give us like $2 a piece. And we used to go to arcades and spend all that money in arcades. And as we got older, we started fucking breaking into cars and stealing stereos and stealing cars and stealing clothes, going to the mall, going boosting, whatever. You know how they call that shit, boosting, where they go and steal a bunch of clothes. But yeah, we started to progress into a big old ring of a bunch of thieves. Like my whole little crew, we had a little like a car theft ring. If Yeah, I guess you might call it like a little ring. And we all got busted together. You know, I had my second charge in juvenile hall was 19 counts of auto theft. So they found in 19 cars in a abandoned building, and we were taking them up apart. I mean, we were taking the wheels, the systems, the amps, and we were gutting them cars. I mean, we were out there, we're taking them to the like a little shop where we used to sell everything. You know what I mean? So that was like our little income. And then from there, it went into selling drugs and so on and so on. But yeah, it got out of control. The fast money. When you see fast money, and you just want it, you're just looking for it.
And you earlier on you mentioned that you went to camp. How many camp programs did you do? And did you end up in YA? With any of those cases that you caught?
Nah, I didn't go to YA. I went to camp twice. And both times I went with my little brother Chava. And camp was crazy too, because when you go to camp, they play that little barrio shit in there. So you know when you go to adult, the difference between juvenile hall, when you get busted as a youngster, you go to juvenile hall or camp, and then you get busted as an adult and you go to county jail. They don't play the gang shit. Well, you know, once you're in county jail or prisons. So going to juvenile hall camp, and when you're in there, we had to fight like all the neighborhood gangs that were in our neighborhood, and then we even had to fight gangs that we never even heard of. Like, what the fuck? We don't have fun with you guys. Like, why are we fighting? But it was like fighting every day. We used to fight every day. And then, fuck, it was every time you get in a fight, they were at 30 days. So, man, I was stuck there. I think I broke the record right there. I was there for like 2 years, and the max you could be there was like a year and a half. And because I was getting in so much trouble, they made like an exception. They kept me longer, like to set an example for other kids that were still fighting.
And by the
Yeah,
time
it was rough.
but by the time you completed your second camp program, how old were you when you ended up coming home?
I was 15. Yeah, I was 15.
So then, from 15 to 18, you didn't catch any more cases. You were on the straight and narrow.
Yeah. I ended up like I was working. I remember I got like one of the little summer jobs. I started working. I worked at Foot Locker. I worked at Circle K. I started doing like little regular jobs that you got to punch in and you get the check in. You get paid on the weekends and stuff like that. So that was kind of helping me because I was on probation. So it was either that or go back to juvenile hall. So then when I turned 16, towards the end, almost 17, I got busted again for auto theft again. I kept getting busted for stealing cars. So my carnala, her husband took the judge gave us an ultimatum. It was either YA or my sister and her husband could adopt me and take me into and be my legal guardian. So my sister's husband, his name's Alex. That fool died last year. Rest in peace. But that fool took custody. He became my legal guardian, and they signed the papers, and they kicked me out of the whole county. I wasn't allowed to live in San Diego County no more. So I lived from the age of 17 to like what I would say maybe 20, 19 to 20, with my carnala right there in Carson in LA.
And when you did that at any point that the trauma or the abuse that you were suffering at your dad's hands, did that ever stop, or did it only stop once you were removed from the home and you ended up moving to Carson?
Yeah, once I moved to Carson. But sure, so in between all those times, from the age of 16 until the day I got busted, I was still, even though I was doing good, I was still doing things, that I was getting away with. So I believe, like, even though, like, I remember I was telling you earlier, and we'll get into that later, but I believe that I'm still paying, even though I'm not guilty for certain things, that I believe that, I'm still paying for shit that I got away with. So I was still, in between times, I was still cooking dope. I started cooking crystal when I was, like, 16 years old. So I ended up cooking crystal for like about 6 years before I got busted. And we used to go like once a month or every other month. And whenever I was running low on money, I would call, hey, what's up? Let's go do a crook. So they would call me and I'd go make me a little bit of money. And I was hiding it. I was hiding it from my mom. I was hiding it from my sister. But it was getting harder and harder because I was all of a sudden I'm driving these lavish cars.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
I got a gang of money. I got cars. I'm wearing Jordan. I'm a straight little youngster, paisa ass looking. Like how the fuck is this getting all this money? And I didn't know what kind of lie to say. And my mom was like, hey, where you getting all this shit? Like, Mom, I'm working construction with my homeboy, que sabe qué. And I would purposely stop at, like, I would go to like a warehouse store and I would get paint. I would get paint all over my pants. I would ruin all my ropa on purpose just so I could go home and play the part like I was actually painting houses and working in construction. So I went the distance hiding all this shit from my parents because I was scared. I was like, man, once they find this shit out, they're really going to kill me, But yeah, that shit stopped. Like the whooping stopped at around that age, like 16, 17. And it had to. I mean, that couldn't get a hold of me. I was far. Yeah.
And would you say your life was better once you were living with your sister and her husband?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was, but it was better. But I lived like a big secret. Like my sister and her husband, which I respect, and I looked at him like a second dad. Like that fool was awesome. He was cool, and it was so hard to hide all this money, And I was like, I would leave in the weekends, and they knew I was going to San Diego every weekend. They were telling me, hey, what are you doing? Why are you going over there? If you get busted, they're gonna lock you up. But I was going over there to cook, and I was dealing with a bunch of food from the hood right there, and the shit started getting big, and then one day I just didn't go back. I just, shit happened, and I got involved a little too deep, and that shit just spiraled out of control. Like I was stuck. I was already involved, and I already knew a lot, so I couldn't even hide it. So I was scared to go back and get caught. Like I didn't want my older sister and her husband to actually catch me in a lie. I was ashamed. Like, man, what am I gonna do? Like I didn't even know what to do with the money. I was like, what the fuck? Who do I trust? And I started trusting my Chinese mom, and she was stealing all my money, and it was just crazy. It was, people don't realize when you're out there dealing drugs, you don't know what to do with your money because you don't know. For once, you don't want to get caught. You don't want nobody to tell on you. You don't want nobody to snitch on you, and you don't want your mom or your dad to find out. So you can't have a bank account. I mean, I couldn't. I wasn't old enough because I was on probation and I wasn't really working no more. So that shit was just crazy. It was like the craziest part. Like the craziest part of my life was those years, because I had to hide a lot until I came out on the news, and I went to my mom's house and I was wanted for murders. Because I was like, what the hell? And I was like, fuck. So I had to come clean. So I went to my mom's and I told her, hey, Mom, nah, I didn't go down like that. This and that, And she's like, man. And my mom started crying. My dad hugged me, and they know their son. I told my mom, Mom, look me in my eyes. You think I really did do that? And she's like, no, I know you didn't. But it's that friend that we told you not to hang around with. My dad, my mom, they always told me about a certain individual that was no good for me. They used to tell me, hey, that dude right there, he's not good for you. He's not a good friend. He's either going to take you to the grave, he's going to get you killed, or you're going to end up in prison forever. Because that dude's into something that we could just see it. You could just see it in his eyes. And, man, it's crazy because Mom and Dad, they're always right. They know. But I didn't want to listen. They want to listen. That shit cost me my whole fucking life, homie.
And do you want to get into the night that this transpired? Whatever you're comfortable with. I'm not. I don't know if you have any appeals going on.
Hey, can I tell you something real quick? Hey, look, just so
Yeah.
you know, right?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure if Letty's still listening,
Yeah.
she'll tell you, like,
Mhm.
hey, honey, I had shut down for like about 26 years. I mean, like I talked to nobody. I wasn't writing nobody. I was only calling my mom. I was only talking to my sister. I didn't have a girlfriend. I had nothing. I had not even a girlfriend, just a regular friend to talk to. I had shut down from everybody. I became a real, like in little bubble where I didn't want to know nobody. I didn't want to have friends. I was mad at the world for a while, right?
Yeah.
So I inside I used to think that I wasn't gonna be able to hold a conversation with anyone other than my mom and my dad. Like I was, so when I would call on the phone, it was always my mom, my tia, my prima, family. So not too long ago, I started talking to some girl, and she kind of pulled me out of that. She's like, man, her conversation was like just like us, like we're talking about real life shit, you know. And she kind of pulled me out of that dark hole, homie. Like, hey man, like you cool, like you could, you know. And I used to,
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
I would ask her, hey, am I doing good? Do I sound crazy? Because I always worry. I get like right now, you don't even know. You might not even, you can't tell, but I'm so fucking nervous, homie. I'm walking back and forth to my cell. I'm sweating. I got a knot in my throat. I'm like, fuck, how retarded do I sound right now? Is it okay? Or am I doing good? What the hell, you know? But yeah, because I'm pretty sure you caught some stuttering and maybe some answers that didn't even connect with the question. Maybe I'm hopefully not, maybe not, but that's what I'm thinking. While I'm speaking, I'm thinking, am I really putting shit together right, or what the hell? But yeah, I don't know. What you think?
You know what? I'll tell you this much. It's not easy, conversating and whatnot, and I have that problem also. Up until that I started this podcast. Uh, um, like I didn't know what I was gonna be talking about. Like I'm not real sociable. My wife is always getting on
Yeah.
my bumper because when I meet new people, then I'll say like 2 3 words, and then if they're not interesting, then I don't want to talk to them. But I just can't help it. But
Yeah.
doing this podcast, obviously, I have to speak to individuals, and it's helping me, to get out
Yeah.
of my shell and
That's
communicate.
good, man. So we're helping each other. We're
Yeah,
helping each other.
yeah.
Okay, that's it.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
I just let out a long ass breath. You don't even know I was holding my breath for so long. Okay, yeah. So I'm glad that you feel me. Like you understand. It's not easy on me because for one, I'm worried. I do care about how people view me and how they think. Like out there, especially I don't know if anybody in my family is listening out there, and I already threw my mom out. My mom is so secretive about everything. She's like, don't tell nobody how many kids I got. Stop saying this. Don't tell nobody how. My mom had her last kid when she was like almost 50, like 48 or something. So she came out on the news and everything. So I threw her out there because I was proud of her. I told Mom, that's something to be proud of. What you getting mad about? But yeah, my mom had a gang of kids. Yeah, that's why I said that from the gate. Like I could just tell you that it was more than 10. So right now I got 6 brothers and 3 sisters, but it was a lot of us. And so yeah, I get nervous on me. So just bear with.
All right, so he should be calling us back shortly, and then I'll go ahead and read off the comments of support. My apologies, if I'm not reading off all the messages. I just he does have a very interesting life story, so I'm not trying to get away from his story. So, but normally, whenever these calls get disconnected, I'll tend to read up a lot of these comments or questions and whatnot. And I'm reading the comments that you guys are putting on here, and definitely they are encouraging. And when I read them back to him, I'm definitely I'm pretty sure that they're gonna help him and make this interview easier for him.
This call
This
is
is
now being
Global
recorded.
Tel Link. You have a prepaid call from
Javier Yanez.
an inmate at the Centinela State Prison, Centinela, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now. Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Javier.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey,
Yeah.
thank you for calling back, and I'm gonna go ahead and read off some of these comments here. From we do have 7 people listening to our interview or conversation right now, and
Yeah.
let me see here. So, uh, uh, Leticia puts, "That's me. He can do it. I believe everyone needs a second chance in life. He has changed. And then and some of these names you're gonna hear over and over because they are some of our biggest supporters here that come and listen to these stories and these journeys that you
Yeah.
gentlemen are going through. And one of our big
Yeah.
supporters here is El Iceman, and he puts
Uh-huh.
or he types, "It's okay, Javier, you're doing great." And then Leticia puts, "Amazing job."
Oh, okay.
And then we have another supporter here, Lifestyle
Cool.
Chronicles, and he
Yeah.
puts, "Keep your head up, Javier. The pain and
Yeah, man.
struggle is real, but continue down the path of righteousness, 100%."
That's right. I appreciate that. Appreciate
And
that.
another thing that I forgot to mention to you when we were speaking off the air is that
Yeah.
uh, hopefully, having these conversations, you connect with people, or your story resonates with those that are listening to this conversations, and hopefully, they reach out to you because they could reach out. If they download the GTL Getting Out app, they could message you, and if they don't feel
Yeah.
comfortable asking, here in a public forum, like a specific question, they could always reach out to you on one-on-one basis, and they could ask those
Yeah.
questions directly to you, and you could build some type of connection with other people that normally you wouldn't have
Hmm.
access to. So that is one of the great things about doing live streams, or putting your information out online, is that you'll make connections with
Yeah.
people, and you say you were an artist, hopefully you could
Oh,
share some of
yeah.
that art with me, and I could actually blast it on here on the channel, while we're streaming. So you might get some people to
Yeah.
inquire, so
Yep.
in regards to your art. So the possibilities are endless here, with you sharing your story. It could help you in
Yeah.
many different ways. So definitely an exciting time, with technology and whatnot. So
Yeah. 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 Nah, man, I appreciate everything, man. Like, my main thing is like, I'm gonna be going to board next year, and and I know this is actually gonna help me be able to speak up in the board because when there's a lot of intimidation when you go to board. I mean, like these fools, there's three dudes in there that hold. Actually, it's two now. It's two commissioners. They hold your whole life in their hand. I mean, like what you say right there and then is depending if you're gonna get out or not. If they're gonna give you a release date or you're gonna be stuck for another 3 or 4 or 5 years. So this is actually going to help me open up. Not just this. Like I started talking to some. I got a friend. Some. She's not my girlfriend. She's just my friend. And that's actually helping me so much, man. Like, and because I was, like I said, I was closed up. Homie, I was like, I'm doing. I've been in here my whole entire life. I went my whole time without a girlfriend. I never had. I see people going to visit all the time, and they have a girlfriend, and they get mail, and they're on the phone with a girlfriend all the time. And I'm like, man, I used to listen like shit. Like, like my fucking luck. I'm by myself. I have nobody. But I never seeked, and I never put my name on no pen pal sites and none of that shit, man. I never, I didn't even know how to go about it. I used to think that I was not good at speaking, and I was probably some kind of, everybody would think I'm some kind of weirdo because of my crime or whatever, that because I'm in prison for so long, they're gonna judge me like this fool's straight killer or whatever. But I'm not, homie. I'm not. I'm actually the whole opposite, dog. I'm a soft ass motherfucker, dog. Like, I mean, I'll fight if I have to. I'll defend myself, but I don't never go out there and look for violence. And, I look for happiness. I look for joy, homie. I like to laugh. I like everybody to be happy. I go around trying to make people happy.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
But yeah, man, I had close stuff for a long time, so I do appreciate this right here. It's helping me like kind of like open up. But
yeah,
I
no,
mean, I've had
definitely.
a knot in my throat from the whole beginning. I had like a knot in my throat because, I'm bringing back so many memories, man. Especially when I'm talking about my dad. Like, man, like that fool used to whoop us. And I threw him out there. He's on the open like that. Like, I'm pretty sure even if he hears about it, he's not gonna get mad because he now realizes that he fucked up. That all his kids ended up in prison. And that was not the way to go about disciplining your kids and shit.
Yeah, and I just want to go ahead and point something out. And I'm sure you're aware of this now, but speaking about a lot of these events, they're traumatic events. It's trauma that you went to and you went through, and it's not easy. Sharing this with just with anybody. So
Yeah,
I hear that it's not easy, but the more you talk about it, then the easier it becomes, and it gives you time to heal, and deal with those things that you've probably buried down, deep down inside of you, and never dealt with. So these are things that
yeah,
that are
it
gonna
does.
help you, move forward in your life, and become a better person.
You know, you know what? It does because I'm already, believe it or not, like from the beginning to now, I was so nervous. I was walking. I've been walking this whole time, homie, and I'm in a cell. So you tell me, like, imagine, cause you just picture that I'm in this little 12 by 6 cell, and I've been walking, homie, back and forth. You guys don't know that. I just letting you know right now. I just barely stopped right now, and I'm looking into my locker, and I turned my light off, and I just held, and it feels like I let out a lot of shit. So it does help. I mean, if you don't speak about things that that you went through in the past, and you just hold them in, I think that actually brings violence to you too. Like when people say or do something to you, you're balling in all this past, all the past that you're supposed to be able to, pretty much talk about to your parents. But I'm in prison, so I can't talk to my mom or my dad or my brother, my sister, my cousin. Unless I'm on the phone. And most of the time when I'm on the phone with them, I don't like to bring up, you know, sad memories. I talk about the now. What's up, mom? What are you making to eat? What are you guys cooking? What are you guys doing? But yeah, so we all need an avenue, dog, to vent all this shit out. Holding all that shit in, dog. I think that a lot of them dudes that finally grow up is because they have no one to talk to about, the past or what's bugging them or what, or things that they need to speak about, to let it out, to vent. If I might say so. But yeah, this is actually helping. I'm a little more relaxed now. I was so stressed out. I was like, man, I wonder how this sounds right here. Especially when I brought out I was talking about my dad and my mom and all that. My mom's been very private about her life. Like she was nervous about having so many kids, and I tell mom, that's awesome, man. You had all these kids with the same dad. She's proud of that. I'm proud of you. But that's the way she is. But yeah, it's helped me a lot, honey. I really do appreciate this.
So I'm glad, and when is it that you're gonna be going to board?
I go to board in March.
Oh, that's right around the corner. So yeah, we got some time to work on
Yeah,
that, and the board, they throw questions out there that you wouldn't normally expect. So I mean, being on this public forum, our listeners, they're always interacting and throwing questions out there. So it'll definitely help you react quick, and give help you out with answering questions, and being comfortable,
yeah,
speaking to people. So definitely, I think
yeah,
this could help you out. Um,
yeah. I think that the secret is just pretend it's just me talking. That's it. And you get that in your head because a lot of us feel some kind of intimidation, like when we're talking and we worry we don't know who's listening. So it's like if you like say you go in a corner and you're whispering about somebody and you're able to tell that dude a certain secret and you're able to do it versus you doing it in front of a gang of people and you gotta like really get in his ear. So once you just I think if you just look at it, and that's what I got into my head right now. I'm just pretending I'm just talking to you, and anything else outside, if they're listening, they're listening. I don't know. What you don't know, don't bug you, obviously. But yeah, this for sure will help me when I go on the board, man. Because every time I walk in that board, man, it's like I get stuck. Like I get so scared. Intimidation is vicious. It's real in there. Because they're looking you dead in the eye and they're like, what's up, Mr. Young Man? They're like being hella cool. Like it's a regular day to them. And I'm looking at them and I'm like, damn, that was just, As I say, he kind of like started. He broke the ice off the top. Like he said, like, "What's up, Mr. Yanez?" And I'm looking, I'm like, "What the hell?" Like, I'm expecting more professional, like for him to be more professional. Like, "Hey, how you doing, Mr. Yanez? Good morning." But it's like I guess they try to throw a little icebreaker in there, so because they know that a lot of us go in there with some kind of fear. Like, man, this dude, they're not gonna let me out. They're gonna bring this up. They're gonna bring that too. Last time I didn't get a board date because I got a write-up for a stupid cell phone, and I regret that so much. But it's just choices that lead into consequences and regret. But yeah, man. Hopefully I believe this will help me. And it also might help kids that are out there, parents that are listening or whatever, because they can tell these kids, man, this shit is real, man. Like, wrong move, wrong choice. You can end up in prison especially in California, for your whole life.
Yeah, you're right about that. And I want to ask you a question. I know we're down to about 4 minutes before our call gets, or 3 minutes now before our call gets cut off.
Yeah.
I just want to mention to you that all these messages and questions and whatnot. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take screenshots of these, and I'm gonna go ahead and send them to you via the Getting Out app. So like that, you could see the type of messages people are leaving and the questions they're asking. And for now, when this call terminates, then it'll be our last call for the night. But if you're available tomorrow, I definitely want to bring you back on so we could go and continue. I think we left out you left off at a good place where which kind of led where you're at right now, and man, you got 30 years of time in there. So it's gonna take many days and many hours.
We're about to get into the real stuff, and that one right there is gonna take some. That one's really gonna take a hit, but you know what? It's gonna help, man, and I'll bring it out,
Yeah.
Hopefully, I'll be ready though, and, I do appreciate it though. I really do. You do pretty good, man, for saying you're not too social, man. You actually you're well spoken, homie. Like you talk pretty good, homie. You don't stutter like I do. You do pretty good.
No, yeah. If you listen to some of my some of my first interviews that I did, I was stuttering Stanley.
Did you record them? You got them recorded?
Yeah, All my interviews are on YouTube. So.
Oh yeah, I might check that out somehow. I'll figure out a way to get them. Yeah, I would like to hear them, man. But man, for real though. Yeah, I think we got like maybe 60 seconds left. But no, Simon, I appreciate you, homie, and I'll let Tabo know. I'll let him know that we talked, and hopefully this could help. Maybe people that are listening, and because we're about to get into the real good, like real bad, ugly shit. Like conniving. People that are. It was ugly, people turned on me, people used me, and that's all that shit that I'm still holding in, man, because I'm doing somebody else's time, and that shit just eating me up, because it's just crazy, like people will just turn their back on you right away when it hits the fan, when it hits the fan, like all of a sudden nobody knows nothing, everybody just disappears.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
But yeah, that's pretty much like my case, man, so just know, like, it's gonna get sad, because I'm pretty sure anybody with a good heart, man, they're going to feel that.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
All right.
Because I feel it, homie, and it happened to me, and I'm like, fuck, man, even if it wasn't me, I would feel it for the next person. But Simon, homie, whenever you're ready for another one, just hit me up, and I'll call you.
Okay. All right, great. So I'll send you some messages tomorrow. Definitely tomorrow. I'll go ahead and shoot you some times. And then if you're available, then just go ahead and give me a call, and then we'll go ahead and run it, and we'll go ahead and we're gonna get into the what is it they say into the thick of it.
What got me in here?
Yeah,
the whole crime shit. Yeah, Simone, homie, I'm there, homeboy.
All right, then have a good night. We'll be in touch.
Night. All right, likewise.
All right, thank you. All right, so before I cut the stream off, I want to go ahead and thank all of you guys, for tuning in and participating. What I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna take screen grabs of all the messages on here, and I'm gonna go ahead and send them to Javier via the Getting Out app. And Lifestyle Chronicles. I saw your comment on here, and about bringing some of you guys that are listening um onto the show. Yeah, and that has crossed my mind. I have set up some phone numbers to be able to receive calls from you guys. I just haven't put it into action yet. I just gotta kind of figure out a way how to uh pretty much like screen anybody that wants to come on, because I'm just not trying to bring anybody on, especially if somebody's a loose cannon, and they're unpredictable on what they're gonna be saying. But yeah, definitely, that is in the plans. Eventually, I'm gonna go ahead and bring you guys on. Those of you that because I know not only stories, not only stories, not only do these gentlemen have stories behind the walls. I know that the audience, you guys have stories too. Um, and one of the reasons that I did decide to start up this YouTube channel was because I was and I am a huge consumer of this prison genre, if you will, if that's what you want to call it. And I'm fascinated by it. I've been intrigued with it for years. Whether it was National Geographic's MSNBC Raw, Lockup, Lockdown, all that stuff. I've always been consuming it, and I wanted to add a little bit. I wanted to add or some value to this type of content. So that's one of the reasons that I decided to bring up this YouTube channel. Obviously, I couldn't have done it without my friend that's currently there at Centinela. He was the one that was able to connect me with all these gentlemen and whatnot. So huge thanks to him, because if it wasn't for him, this would have just been a thought in my mind. And well, I'm gonna go ahead and cut the stream. You guys go ahead and have a good night. I've been running streams for the last I don't know, like 4 or 5 hours or so. I think I started like at about 6:30. I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night, and you guys go ahead and have a good night, and enjoy the rest of your night.